Hi, this is Anthony. Welcome back to my show. Remember, I'm not a financial analyst or a stock analyst. I'm just somebody who's interested in the stock market, and I have been since the big drop of 22% in 1987 when I was in high school. So this is for entertainment purposes, but I think that if you pay attention to my videos about stocks and investing, you might find something valuable and perhaps more valuable than some other people on YouTube. For instance, I was watching one of those many dividend um, channels yesterday, and somebody brought up, or the host brought up, UPS, United Parcel Services. So you might think, oh, this is, great stock. It's been around since 1907. It has a very high yield, 7.56%. Now, that's a red flag. It has a PE ratio of 12.91, which probably isn't too bad. Okay, so there's one day, which was yesterday, Friday. There's 5 days, it's up. 1 month, it's up. Oh, but 6 months, it's down over 11%. Year to date, down 30%, when this year's done pretty well. 1 year, so 52 weeks, it's down almost 34%. Not good. 5 years, it's down 48%, which is absolutely terrible when you compare it to lots of other stocks that are household names, as well as the major indices or ETFs that track major indices. And then Max, you are up 21.37% from 1999, which is just an absolute embarrassment. Now, you are making, a dividend, currently a high one, probably more normal back then. Let's look at this chart a little bit more. So in 1991, this is as far as it goes back, it was $71.50. Look at that. 10 years later, you're down, you've lost, I don't know, 40%, 30% of your money. Still making some dividends, but I'm guessing at that time the dividends were 2, 3, 4% maybe. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you have been making some dividends. Then at that low point there, 2009, that's when everything was down in the market. It started going up, but look at this. Over 20 years after this chart starts, you would have gone from $71 to $90. That's not really great over the course of 20 years. Now, of course, this is the period of COVID when people started getting excited about buying things online and getting them delivered. And so they probably had a lot of deliveries here. Now we're back to 86.78. 25 or so years after this, you would have gone from $71.50 to 86.78. That's not very good. Okay. Let's look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF. There's one day it's up, 5 days it's up, just like our UPS. 6 months, unlike UPS, 6 months it's up. Year to date, it's up. Let's go back there. 6 months, you'd be up 22% if you would have bought 6 months ago the Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF. And again, for people that maybe have a little bit more risk tolerance, the NASDAQ 100 might be more appropriate, or probably would have grown more. For some people, the S&P 500 is appropriate. Okay, so year to date, you're up 10% on Dow Jones. 1 year, so that's 52 weeks, you're still up 10%. And, when people argue, 10% on average is not reasonable for the stock market or not necessarily a good number, well, according to this, it is. Here we go, 5 years, and again, it's up almost 69%. So a good 10% compounded growth per year. Max, this chart goes back to 1998. So just slightly before that other chart that we have for UPS. Okay, so let's take a look at this from 1998 to October 3rd, 2025. so that's 26, 27 years roughly, you'd be up 500%. And you are getting some dividend. Okay, it doesn't show any dividend here because you have 30 stocks, not all of them paying dividends, but I think most of them are. So the dividends each quarter kind of variable. But I did, if you go up here and you just type in dividend, AI will scan the internet. Currently, DIA, which is the ETF that we're talking about, pays $1.31 per share. And it's not clear if that's total. That's the most recent one. So that's roughly quarterly. On average, you get that. If you click this over and over again, you'll get slightly different information. I think that a previous time when I looked at this, the dividend yield was a little under 2%. So much lower than UPS, but obviously, as we remember, you'd be up 500% over the past 26 or so years, okay? And remember, over the past 25 or 26 years, you'd only be up 21% there on UPS. So for all those people that are trying to get that 7.56% dividend and think that that will hold, even if they continued paying a high dividend, you have to remember that that's because the share price is going down. Be sure you understand how dividend yield works relative to price. You would think that with everybody buying things online, that UPS would be making a lot of money. But you have to remember that, from my experience with Amazon, a lot of their shipments are delivered by the U.S. Postal Service, and some of them are delivered by contractors who work for Amazon. So I don't know how much UPS is now delivering for Amazon, which obviously is probably the biggest online retailer. Obviously, there's other online retailers who may use UPS, but it just seemed, and for instance, I know somebody from another country was here legally, had work authorization. I think their asylum was denied or revoked. Their work authorization was no longer renewed, but they're still able to get delivery jobs where they use their personal vehicle and have apps where they can go pick up something and then go deliver it. So UPS, which I believe has unionized workers, and those big trucks are competing against people who desperately need jobs and are willing to use their personal vehicles to deliver items to people. So a lot of pressure against UPS and the service that they provide, even though you think that it would be a good business to be in. So keep that in mind. And here's another thing. 2020, the stock price was 102 right before it took off, and now it's down good $15-16 in the past 5 years. Just not a good one. Please be very cautious if you are interested in dividends. And I'm not cautioning you against dividend stocks, but be very careful when you go into them, knowing that if it's a high dividend yield, there's a reason for that. Companies don't typically pay high dividends unless they have to, or because the price is going down of the stock, which will keep the dividend yield artificially high for a while, but eventually they'll probably cut the dividend yield, which can still keep it high as the price goes down. Okay, so there's some math there. Understand that. I'm going to finish up right now. Please check out my other videos. I cover a lot of topics besides stock investing, although I do enjoy that. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment. I always read them, and eventually I get around to responding to them. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time.